February 21, 2025, will be etched in the annals of American military history as a day of unprecedented upheaval. President Trump, in a move that sent shockwaves through the Pentagon and beyond, fired General Charles Q. Brown, Jr., the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. This dramatic dismissal was not an isolated incident. It was part of a larger purge orchestrated by President Trump and his recently appointed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, aimed at reshaping the very identity of the U.S. military. General Brown, the second black man to ever hold the nation's highest military office, saw his tenure abruptly cut short. His planned retirement in 2027 was rendered meaningless by a president seemingly determined to mold the military in his own image. Admiral Lisa Franchetti, the Chief of Navy, and General James Slife, the Vice Chief of the Air Force, also found themselves ousted from their positions. The purge extended beyond these high-profile dismissals. Hegseth, a staunch Trump loyalist with a history of courting controversy, set his sights on the Judge Advocates General, JAGs, of the Army, Navy, and Air Force. These legal officers, tasked with upholding military law, became the latest targets in what many perceived as a politically motivated assault on the very foundations of the U.S. military. The speed and ruthlessness with which these dismissals were carried out left no doubt that the Trump administration was intent on consolidating its control over the armed forces. The removal of seasoned military leaders, coupled with the installation of loyalists in key positions, raised profound questions about the future direction of the U.S. military and its role on the world stage. The justifications offered for the abrupt dismissal of General Brown and other high-ranking officers provided a glimpse into the Trump administration's vision for the U.S. military. President Trump, in his characteristically blunt style, railed against what he perceived as the creeping influence of woke ideology within the ranks. He accused the dismissed generals of prioritizing political correctness over military readiness, echoing a common refrain among his most ardent supporters. Defense Secretary Hegseth, known for his hawkish views and unwavering loyalty to the president, echoed these sentiments. He specifically targeted Admiral Franchetti, labeling her a DEI hire and criticizing her support for diversity and inclusion initiatives. He accused the JAGs of being more concerned with personal gain and career advancement than with serving the needs of the warfighter. These pronouncements revealed a deep-seated belief within the Trump administration that the U.S. military had strayed from its core mission. The emphasis on diversity and inclusion, in their view, had come at the expense of combat effectiveness. They yearned for a return to a bygone era, where the military was seen as an instrument of raw power, unburdened by the complexities of social justice or political correctness. The administration's rhetoric resonated with a segment of the population that felt increasingly alienated from the cultural shifts taking place in American society. They saw in Trump a champion for their values, a leader willing to challenge the perceived liberal orthodoxy that had taken hold in institutions like the military. The unceremonious dismissal of General Charles Q. Brown, Jr. carried with it a profound symbolism that transcended the immediate event. As only the second black man to ever lead the U.S. military, General Brown's appointment in 2023 was hailed as a watershed moment in American history. His rise through the ranks, culminating in his elevation to the chairmanship, served as a beacon of hope and inspiration for countless Americans, particularly those from marginalized communities. General Brown's tenure as chairman was marked by a commitment to modernizing the U.S. military and preparing it for the challenges of the 21st century. He recognized the need to adapt to a rapidly evolving global security landscape, characterized by the rise of China, the resurgence of Russia, and the persistent threat of terrorism. He championed innovation, pushing for investments in cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence, hypersonic weapons, and cyber warfare capabilities. Beyond his strategic vision, General Brown was widely respected within the military for his leadership and integrity. He earned a reputation as a thoughtful and deliberate decision-maker, always mindful of the human cost of war. His dismissal sent shockwaves through the ranks, leaving many questioning the future direction of the institution they had dedicated their lives to serving. The abrupt end to General Brown's tenure served as a stark reminder of the enduring legacy of racism and discrimination in American society. Despite the progress made in recent decades, the events of February 21, 2025, demonstrated that even the highest echelons of power were not immune to the forces of prejudice and bigotry. The implications of the Pentagon purge extend far beyond the walls of the military establishment, reaching into the very heart of American democracy and its standing on the world stage. The dismissals, widely seen as politically motivated, raised profound questions about civilian control of the military and the potential erosion of democratic norms. The legal framework for these actions, while arguably sound, did little to quell the growing unease. President Trump's ability to waive rank requirements for top positions, while within his presidential purview, added to the perception that he was bending the rules to consolidate his power. Internationally, allies and adversaries alike watched with a mixture of concern and bewilderment. The stability of the U.S. military, long a cornerstone of global security, was called into question. Concerns about the potential for miscalculation and the erosion of trust among allies became major talking points in diplomatic circles. The timing of these events, just months ahead of the 2026 midterm elections, further fueled speculation about President Trump's motivations. Was this a power play designed to solidify his base and intimidate his opponents? Or was it a genuine attempt to reshape the military into a force more aligned with his worldview? As the dust settled on this tumultuous day, one thing remained clear. The Pentagon purge was not an isolated incident, but rather a harbinger of potentially more turbulent times to come. The ramifications of this event, both domestically and internationally, were likely to reverberate for years, if not decades, to come.